In order to have a successful triathlon season, you have to have a good triathlon season plan. And today I'm going to take you through how I go about doing that with my coach so that you can do it with yours.
Easy.
Bind. Are you knackered?
I do find that creating a triathlon season plan and reflecting on your previous season is actually quite daunting, but it's also quite an exciting time of the year because you get to plan ahead and see what's upcoming, set those goals, set those standards that you want to achieve and reach, and get excited about it. You can get enthused about setting those goals and working out how to get there.
It is absolutely on one.
Wrecked it.
Sweet. £6.75, please.
I think for me and for everyone really, the key to doing this is actually identifying those goals and then working backwards as to how to get there. So I'm going to take you through how I choose my goals, how I plan my races, get a global plan of how this is going to occur and go down, sort of like an annual training plan scenario, how I'm going to go about getting from where I am now to where I need to be, then what it'll take weekly, so I'll take you through kind of my weekly schedule, and then also what it will take mentally to be able to execute that weekly plan week in, week out.
Fuck me, why has Apple done this? Because the screen doesn't fucking work, it doesn't fucking do niche. I'm pissed off. Oh, okay, buddy.
Well, so we know you're checking yourself.
November. Can you see the November?
Yeah, it's right.
So choosing my goals for the season, I had like a few goals and in different areas last season. So I had obviously my triathlon specific goals in racing and training, and then also my outside triathlon goals, which were related to kind of YouTube, talking to you guys, growing my audience, but then also in work and within Tyre. So I had a few different ranges of goals, and both short-term and long-term. And I think that's a really good thing for you guys to also do, is to have those short and long-term goals, both in training, racing, but also outside of that, so that you have a good kind of breadth of areas that you can work on at the same time, so that you're not getting too het up in one area or the other.
I haven't really put together some rigid goals, but
You put together
I've got
some
a 4-year
decent race goals, right?
I've got a 4-year plan, and I guess it's more of a dream. And then I've got goals within the 4 years. So I basically want to get a top 10 at the next Commonwealth Games, and I know I need to get in the top 12 of the European Cup next year. Would be quite nice. And just basically build on last season. But I haven't thought too much about it. I'm just trying to survive today and the week. But yeah.
So for me, I have like 2 or 3 specific race goals, but obviously I have to work back from that. So those race goals are, for example, to podium in a professional 70.3 event, and then a top 15 at the Challenge Championships, and then finally podium or win the Island Games in Guernsey, my hometown. So those are the 3 specific racing goals that I have, but I think that a lot of them will probably pin on the first one, which is to podium at a professional 70.3 event, because if I'm able to do that, I think the other ones should potentially take care of themselves. If I'm at that standard, then I should be able to do the others.
What about Island Games?
It is a goal, but it's not like fully on my radar, because it's not the format that I'm like focusing on this year. But I would definitely like to get back on the podium, and definitely one position at least more than last time.
Do you want to beat me?
I'd love to beat you. Obviously. So actually, I just want to come second.
Yeah, literally.
Obviously I'd love to beat you, but I think it's a tall order. But
Just have to swim hard enough, you won't be able to keep up on the bike.
and then just ride away. Light work.
I won't go into all of the other specific like training goals necessarily, but it will be effectively to achieve X amount of hours per year broken up into a weekly volume, etc. So it's kind of like a breadth, like a big kind of global goal, global volume, rather than a specific weekly volume, which I have to hit week in, week out, because I think that working to that bigger sort of picture thing is far more like manageable for my little brain than it is to be like, okay, I need to hit 16 hours or I need to hit 20 or 25 or 30 hours per week, because I think it's just not realistic, because every week varies. So I don't want to have to like stringently stick to that weekly volume or weekly hourly rate, instead of maybe just working on that kind of global scene of I'm working to let's say 800 or 1,000 hours, I think that's a far more achievable and realistic goal than setting the week in, week out goal, because like I said, it just varies so much. Like my life does change. I'm tired one week, I've got more week in another. I can push and pull it like slightly each week. One thing for you guys to kind of maybe think about is to make these goals SMART. I won't go into that, just Google it. It's specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely, I think. So all of my goals will be SMART goals as well. It's just worth mentioning so that you guys can also make your goals smarter. So working back from my key races, I then need to input the other races around that and maybe decide where they'll sit in comparison to those main races, the A races, if you will, so that I can then start planning the rest of my season to get there. So practice races, so B and C races, fitness races, and then obviously all the training that goes into that as well. So I'll probably pick my races to do with the time of the year, the kind of course, so does it suit me or doesn't it suit me, the size of the race, so who's in it, is it going to be a really competitive field, is it going to be something that actually I can be competitive in and get that podium place, because I'm not going to go to a massive prize purse race if I'm actually looking at being one of the better athletes and hoping that not all of the best in the world do turn up to that race, because it becomes less realistic for me to actually podium in those races. The location for me is really important as well, because I can't have it too hot, because I'm not that well adapted to hot climates. So I really start suffering whether or not it's easy to get to, like in terms of the location as well. Does it cost a ridiculous amount of money to get to? I can't afford that. I haven't got enough sponsorship, I haven't got enough income to be able to go here, there and everywhere. So I'm limited in that respect. I'll also be looking out to see who else is going to these races from a UK base, or friends that I know that might be going as well, just so that I can link up with them. It's so much better going to a race and having people there that you can interact with, like be friendly with, and also just help you around if they've been there as well or before, so that I can actually feed off of them a little bit and just be a little bit more comfortable in myself, so that I know where they're going, I know what they're doing, and I know that they've been there, done that, and can kind of lead me around. As previously mentioned, the budget is obviously very important for me, so I do need to take that into consideration and just make sure that it's within the price that I can pay for this sort of race. So that does mean location, that does mean kind of, is the currency something that I can't exchange correctly or within my budget? Does it mean that the flights have to be shorter or cheaper, the hotels are cheaper, etc, etc. So I think that it really is a massive consideration for me going forward, because if I can do more races in like decent locations, then it means that I actually have more opportunities to get or achieve my goals. So taking all of that into consideration, I now need to create a picture of my season. So obviously pinning those 3 or 4 key races that I have, working backwards from those and deciding what races I want in the lead up to them, and like which ones I will do to prepare myself the best for those races. So is it a case of I stay locally, like closer to those key races in the UK, so that I can actually not travel too much, be fresher, get more training in, and just make sure that I'm actually getting the stimulus that I need without exerting myself financially and physically traveling or otherwise. If, for example, you're looking at a kind of template in terms of how close you can do races, obviously it depends massively on the person who's doing what, like how much training that you're used to, how much training you're not used to. For me, I'm probably able to do 2 70.3s back to back. I can probably do maximum 2 70.3s per month, I'd say. And then I'd have to go back into a training block. But again, it depends what sort of races these are. I need to focus on maybe 1 per month, which will be my aim next year. I'm probably going to start around February, March, and then go 1 race a month or 1 key race a month, just to like really give myself the best opportunity for qualifying for those World Championships. I will add in other races within that, so I'll probably do some more local races or some shorter races that aren't necessarily 70.3s, just to prepare myself for the races that I'm actually trying to target. But yeah, again, a good kind of rule of thumb, or a few rules of thumb for you guys, is maybe in terms of a sprint, you can probably do back-to-back sprint distances, again, depending on how conditioned you are. Olympic, you probably need to like start tapering 2 weeks before, so you probably need at least 2 weeks in between your races. Then I think a half distance, I mean, people say around 5 weeks in between, but like I said, I can do them back to back just because I'm a professional doing 25-30 hours of training a week. I'm pretty used to the races. I know the intensity that I need to go to be able to do that as well. But yeah, it's just worth considering. An Ironman is completely different. It's a different kettle of fish. I've never done an Ironman, but they say it takes about 8 weeks to like come back from, especially if you're an age group athlete. So just bear that in mind if you're planning on doing anything after an Ironman race. Next up, I'm going to talk about how I plan on getting to the like standard that I need to be to get a podium at 70.3 professional race in Ironman or challenge events. Basically, I need to find out or deduce, probably not me necessarily, but more so in conjunction with my coach, what it will take, both swim, bike and run, in terms of speed, power and pace, what they do to be able to achieve a podium, or what people have already done to achieve a podium in those races. So working back from that, I then can deduce where I am now in comparison to where I need to be. And if I can do that, I can then go to work at how to get there. The important thing about this is that you really need to understand where you are now. And I do that through a series of tests, both lactic tests, VO2 max tests, but also just training tests. So we have a load of data over loads of different years about what I respond to, what I don't respond to, but also my lactic levels throughout different periods of the year to give me a good indication of how fit I was for the pace or power or speed at those different points for those different lactates. So yeah, it's just so important to understand where you are, be able to understand the data. That's the important bit, understanding the data so that you can then tune the training to your specific engine. So I know that I need longer reps with less intensity to be able to kind of optimize or improve my engine for what it is, because I've got like a big ceiling. I just need to kind of do a lot of tempo work effectively to optimize that and make sure that I've got a good engine for 70.3 racing. And that's in all three disciplines. It's not one or the other. I'm pretty much there on swim and bike in terms of the ability that I need to be at to podium. Running needs a little bit more to be desired, but that's always the case. I think it's not too far off if I can execute the swim bike correctly. The run's not a million miles away, but it still needs to be worked on.
How am I going to improve?
Yeah, how are you going to get to those goals?
Well, at the moment I'm just in the middle of winter training, like everyone. And last year I figured out that I need to do a little bit more top end stuff to produce more lactic, because I'm quite optimised, which seems to be working. It is horrible though, it's really tiring, and you've got to be quite, like, I guess, I don't know what the word is, disciplined with yourself, because you can burn out and you can't be, and it's harder to be consistent when you're training top end, but it's that's the aim, and it's coming along nicely. I hope. I got testing tomorrow, so we'll find out. And then I've got Dakar African Cup in 3.5 weeks, so
Very nice.
get some world ranking points and then make a plan properly for next year, because there's no point doing anything just yet. The race calendar's not even out yet, so.
What will it take to get there? That's the important thing, isn't it? It's like, what will it take week in, week out in order to adapt yourself, improve yourself, and get to those goals, get to that standard that you need to be at to achieve those goals. And obviously I've worked back from where I need to be and where I am now. And now it's kind of a case of putting together that weekly schedule and making sure that you're able to execute it week in, week out to the best of your ability. And that does not mean intense. It does not mean intense. It means executing the sessions as they are written. So this isn't necessarily like hard training or hard sessions in terms of intense sessions. It means just putting in the hours, putting in the work, and executing things the way that your body needs to execute them. So for me, like I said, it's a lot of tempo stuff. Not threshold, not like aerobic necessarily. It's a lot of tempo stuff. So I just need to be aware that I'm doing it in the right zone, and I do that by spot checking both heart rate and lactics, and making sure that my coach is also watching over me so that he can give me the confidence that I'm doing the right thing. And finally, I think you need to make sure that you really want this. You want your goal. I know that I really want this more than a lot of things. So I know that I'm going to put in my absolute best in terms of the training to get to those goals or to achieve those goals. So I'm really, really putting everything into this week in, week out, making sure that I stick to the plan as best as possible, both mentally and physically. And I think this is a really important thing to understand, is that you've got to be mentally prepared to put in that work.
I'm going to go see Uncle Alan.
Who's Alan?
Alan's our psychologist. He definitely thinks we're absolutely mental, which we are. And yeah, just keep dealing with, well, I think it's like trying to see everything like with a glass half full. Even if there's like shit going wrong, you got to try and like see the positives and everything. And also, like everything you do in life, there's like you're gonna have to do stuff you don't enjoy doing, but as long as you know it's like putting you in the better place than you were beforehand, then it's worthwhile, in my opinion. So that again is a positive mindset. Basically, just be positive and you do alright.
Yeah, I described it as, if you can think of work as play, then...
Yeah, but you can't always see it like that, because like this morning, for example, I didn't really want to be at swimming. Like, I'm tired at the moment. I mean, I'm quite like thick into the vlog.
You're tired?
Benny's tired as well.
I'm not tired.
Not as tired as I am though. And I didn't want to be there, but I knew just turning up and doing like something. So today that was half the session is better than doing nothing. And yeah, I'm sure I just got to trust that like what I'm doing is right, what my coach is giving me is right. And I'll come better, I'll come round, hopefully.
Very good, thank you.
I'm very fortunate in the fact that I absolutely love it. Like, I do love the training. It's a little bit nuts, but I think a lot of people can relate to this as well, is that if you enjoy the training, you'll do more of it. So if you don't like swimming, for example, because you're not very good at it, you're not going to enjoy it. So find a way to enjoy swimming. Fortunately, I love all three disciplines. Absolutely love them. Couldn't get enough of them, to be honest. I have to be held back because it is just play for me. Like, I do just love just going about, doing the exercise, chatting with my mates, getting fit. Like, it's just what I like doing. So it's not really a hardship to get out the door and do it ever. Very, very rare am I like, I don't want to do this today. So there's a few quotes which I love, which are things like, you can't outwork someone for whom work feels like play. I've heard it quite a few times recently. It's a great phrase. Really, really rate it. But yeah, no, it's true, isn't it? Like, if, for example, I'm finding things really easy in the respect of the mental stimulus or mental fatigue that it's causing or not causing, then someone who's really trying to go after it and grind away and put themselves through the ringer mentally is just going to fall off the wagon because they're not enjoying it. They're not like wanting to get out the door necessarily. So yeah, put yourself in the right frame of mind, and that makes the training so much easier. I can't tell you how easy it is to train when you love what you're doing. But that goes back into the goal. Like, really make sure that you want to achieve those goals and why you want to achieve them. So just have a quick think about it and make sure that the goal is set up in the right way for you to want to go after it. If this did help and you can apply it to your own triathlon season for 2023, do hit the bell icon or the subscribe icon, because it will help the channel out and also notify you when I upload my next video, which will hopefully be another guide to training or integrating the triathlon training into your day-to-day life. So yeah, hit subscribe and I'll see you next time.